the Studio of Greatness. I am your host, D. Clark, also known as the Creative Thought Scientist, Wallace Eannace's very own Corporate Vice President and Associate Partner. Today, we have a very, very special guest. He's a friend of mine. I'm proud to call him a friend. His name is Mr. Eddie Goodwin. He is the President of Lochinvar and the Senior Vice President of A.O Smith. And Eddie, when you talk about greatness and being in the Studio of Greatness, it's cold out here today, cold in New York and cold in Minnesota and many other places up in the North and the Northeast. And to just think about the impact that A.O Smith and Lochinvar have on the heating and hot water world, that right there, my friend, is greatness. So welcome to the Studio of Greatness, Eddie.
Thank you, Daryl. It's good to be with you.
Yeah, appreciate that. So, Eddie, we have a wide range of people enjoying the podcast today, from high school students to college students to plumbers, mechanical contractors, engineers, energy associations. So if you could please just give us a little brief history about yourself, who is Eddie Goodwin, your journey, and how you got to be to where you are now.
Well, I started in the water heating business, a company called State Industries back in the early 80s. Been in this business for a long time. I actually started in the components part of the business, a little company called APCOM, and we manufactured heating elements, thermostats, dip tubes, manifolds, the couplings that weld onto the tanks, you name it, almost anything that had to do with water heater, we had either a part in designing or manufacturing. So we also, I started there and started in the sales aspect, in the customer service, and then going into sales, and moved up to there when the president of the business developed some health issues. Then took over the president's spot at APCOM and worked there until 2001, when A.O Smith acquired State Industries. So that's where I became associated with A.O Smith. I'd done business with A.O Smith. They were a customer of mine,
right?
As was almost everybody in the water heater industry. We
Sure.
sold components to just about all of the major manufacturers. But in 2001, became part of A.O Smith. And then in 2011, the acquisition of Lochinvar took place. So I was asked to come over to Lebanon, just a short drive from where I live down in Franklin, and help migrate Lochinvar into the A.O Smith family, and then be in a position to run that business as the family, the Villette family, who previously owned the business, as they cycled out. And so that's my story. I spent 30 years in pretty much water heater components, and the last 10 years in the mostly hydronic and commercial water heating size of it.
It's a great story. That's pretty awesome. So how has it been working at Lochinvar and turning that business around and running that business?
Well, it's been great, and I would tell you, I would be less than truthful if I told you I've turned it around. It's the Villette family had built a very good business. It was growing. It was profitable. It was very innovative. All of those things is what made A.O Smith have a real interest in the business. And so we saw Lochinvar as a company that could fill a gap in our offerings. We were really not heavy into the hydronics. Had a few non-condensing products, but nothing like what the Lochinvar lineup card looked like. So basically, Daryl, I've just tried to keep it on that path. I've tried to keep it growing, tried to keep it improving a little bit, growing a few more profits every year, and keep our innovation, our R&D group challenged, and bringing new product to the market. And that's kind of been the key. I kind of try to stay out of everybody's way, Daryl. The one surprise, I think that the biggest surprise we had at A.O Smith was, when you make an acquisition like Lochinvar, I don't think we recognized the quality of the people that were in place.
Right.
And so that was a tremendous blessing to have that kind of management team and that kind of talent join A.O Smith.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you. It's the people that make the business, and Mike Lottie is certainly a hero of mine, a great guy, and someone that I'm proud to say that I've learned from as I've grown in this business, and as we've taken Lochinvar to new heights here in New York. But you brought up the word innovation, so let's talk about that for a second. How important is that? I mean, I've seen the products change, during my career. Since we've had Lochinvar. So talk about innovation and why innovation and technology and having the highest efficiency gas-fired products and boilers and water heaters is so important to you guys.
Well, as we sit here today, obviously that's where the whole industry is headed. It's going towards the higher efficiency, and that's what everybody wants to see, especially with the challenges of the greenhouse gas emission reduction that the country is experiencing now. But you go back to 2010. That's when the Crest boiler was first introduced into the market. And as we sit here today, you saw our booth out in Vegas at the AHR show.
Yes,
and we had the Hellcat. Right.
Yes,
so the Crest product had been on the market for about 10 years, and we had introduced more sizes and extended that up to the 6 million BTU range. But this Hellcat technology is something that we feel really good about, and took us several years to get fully implemented and worked out, and to feel comfortable about bringing it to the market. And we got big hopes for that. I mean, innovation is what has spurred our growth. We've always been able to introduce new product into an area of the market that we weren't participating in, and that's allowed us to continue to grow our profile. And Daryl, we have the largest, the broadest product offering of anybody in the industry. I don't think there's any question about that. Talking about going down to 50,000 BTU all the way up to 6 million BTUs. Talk about commercial water heating, hydronic, residential, commercial. We have, and then you look at the tank offerings that we have, and the ability to package all that together now is another area that has really started to grow for us. So we're really pleased with. But yeah, the innovation, introducing new product and then being able to improve them as you go has been a big key for us.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. We're very, very excited about that innovation too. And the old saying, right? Innovate or evaporate. So we're moving onward and upward. And, you talked about the greenhouse gases and, reduction of the carbon footprint. And, you've heard it, Eddie. There's so much talk about electrification with everything going on in California and things happening here in New York with new code changes and local law 97 right here in New York that, gas is going away forever. So can you please help our audience out and debunk that myth away a little bit that, gas is going to end forever?
Well, I think our position, and we've been firm with our position on this whole movement, and we follow it very closely. We have a gentleman that's located in Washington, D.C. that is our VP of Governmental Affairs.
Mr. Joshua Green.
Mr. Josh Green, which, by the way, Josh would be, he should be answering this question instead of me. He spends about 26 hours a day working through these kind of situations and where the country's going and who's doing what in certain areas. But we lean on Josh a lot. We lean on him to keep us informed as to what's going on, not only in the local governments, but also in the groups that are taking stands on one way or another. So he's a valuable resource for us, and then kind of gives us an idea and a heads up as to which way certain groups are kind of leaning. And so we use that for our planning and use that in our strategy and when we're developing things as to what we need to be looking at. But to get back to your question, we are all for reducing greenhouse gas emissions. we think there's a lot of ways to go about that.
Understood.
It appears to us that now, as you were stating, gas is bad and electricity is good, right? And, there's a lot of ways to make electricity. So I think what a lot of people aren't understanding is the fact that a lot of electricity comes from gas. So, there's a lot of work to be done there. There's a lot of work to be done on the grid. And, there's a lot of things we can do in our industry that could help that situation. You stop and think, Daryl, you've been in this industry a long time. If everything shifted from non-condensing to condensing, the steps this country could make towards reducing our greenhouse gas emissions.
Sure.
And so we have plenty of gas. We have an infrastructure to deliver the gas. And, we think the answer lies somewhere there in between. And we think it's going to take a while for it to play out. So we're still, when we talk about greenhouse gas emissions, we always lead with our gas condensing high efficiency product, because we think that is that's a very quick step into making, maybe not getting all the way to where the country would like to go, but it takes you a long ways. So that's kind of where we would like to start. And obviously, we're very proud of our condensing product, and we make non-condensing products. So I'm not speaking from just a manufacturer of condensing product. We have a lot of copper product, of non-condensing product that we still manufacture today. But we do believe that's going to have a timeline on it. It'll sunset at some point, and this would be to me the first logical step, if you could get all of that equipment kind of changed over a period of time, and see where that takes us, right? And then give the manufacturers time. I don't know that the manufacturers in the water heating and hydronic industries have never stepped up to what the government has put in front of them. I can go over the past 4 years, I can go back through countless regulations that have come our way that we've always answered the bell. And we will do that here also. I have no doubt about that. But it seems to be condensing that timeline, and some of the areas that you talked about are, they're headed gas to the floor, right? And trying to get there as quickly as possible. And I think there's some potential issues with that.
Right. Yeah. You have to be smart about the way that you do things, and not rush into things that some people, quite frankly, just don't understand. Right. So, how do you just made our audience aware that it's gas sometimes that makes electricity. So, and not many people realize that, or even know that, or understand that. But looking down the road, what potential changes do you see that will be significant, say, happening coming down the road within the next 5 years?
Well, I do believe, everything that we're seeing, especially in the areas you mentioned again, out on the West Coast, Washington, all the way into California, and then up in the Northeast and in the New York area and some surrounding areas, we are seeing a lot of more emphasis on heat pump technology, on geothermal technology. There's a lot more of that being spoken of in the engineering and sector of, as you start to plan buildings and projects, right?
Right.
Obviously, that's the new construction is where everything is going to start, and it'll eventually get to replacement, but that's a little bit tougher. The new construction will be easier to deal with, but I think we're going to have to look at that. And we've got heat pump product in the commercial water heating segment,
right.
And we're getting a lot of requests for quotes, and it's typically a long period, and getting that to the actual project being, where you get your POs and the project starts to move. So there's a lot to be still worked through there. I think there's some, people are starting to recognize there is a footprint issue, there is more space that's required.
Right.
There is a cost impact, right? The cost is, and then there's ways to go about it, Daryl. I mean, heat pumps are not quick heating equipment. And so do you put the extra horsepower in, or do you put storage in? And so there's a lot of ways to go through this. And then, are you going to try to design your system to meet those 2 or 3 days out of the year where it gets really cold? Or are you going to have a backup to handle those kind of situations? So, as you start talking through all that, it's a lot of decisions and a lot of things to work through. And I will tell you, and I know Wallace Eannace does this really well, but we're going to become solutions type businesses. We're going to have a lot of pieces that we can put together, and we'll walk into a Mr. Engineer's office and say, what is it you're trying to accomplish? What is it would you like to see? And let us kind of show you a couple of ways we can get there and kind of help you with that, because those are some things that I don't believe a lot of our community that we deal with every day have had that kind of education, that kind of training on that equipment to really fully understand what's possible.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, that was a very informative answer. And I think that probably the best approach, I mean, we often talk about this in our senior management level meetings here at Wallace Eannace, that a hybrid solution may be the best solution when you're talking about using heat pump technology and what are you going to do for supplemental heat, like you talk about on those very, very cold days. So I'm glad to see that Lochinvar, A.O Smith is committed to being in the heat pump technology business, as it seems to be moving towards that way. Just as you said, you're getting lots of requests for it. Our guys, our engineers are getting requests for it as well. So it seems to be moving in that direction, not at the speed of light, but it is moving in that direction. I know Lochinvar, A.O Smith, two huge, large companies that, don't do a whole lot of bragging, I guess, about what you guys do as far as, greenhouse gases and carbon footprint reduction and things of that nature. So if you can inform our audience about some of the sustainability things and goals that Lochinvar A.O Smith has.
Well, we fall under we have a corporate goal of greenhouse gas emissions to reduce our carbon footprint by 5% by, I believe it's 2025. And so we fall under that. Every operation, every unit in the A.O Smith group has got that same goal that they're trying to meet. So that's something that we are working hard towards every day. And there's things that are kind of, you call it low hanging fruit, right? I mean, there's the lighting that you can always go in and change, and there's some things, for instance, we're replacing part of our roof here at our location in Lebanon, and we're going to go with a material that is a more reflective material. They'll kind of keep the sun rays and the heat out a little bit more, and be a little bit more insulating, and allow us to be a little more efficient with our HVAC in the facility. So you obviously, whenever you're looking at doing something, you're taking advantage of what those opportunities are that can help you get to a lesser carbon footprint. One of the things we just did the other day, we replaced a compressor. And it was a fairly old compressor. And this kind of gets into what we were talking about condensing and non-condensing product, right? This compressor was not nearly as efficient as what's on the market today. So we took that opportunity to really upgrade, and we've done the measuring of the impact of that. And gosh, Daryl, it's somewhere around 3.5 million kilowatts of savings that we will recognize in our facility. And so, anytime we're looking at anything that can provide us something like that, we go ahead and we take that opportunity, and we record those savings and send them up to corporate, and let them put that in on our spreadsheet, right? And hopefully we will surpass that percentage quicker than what we had stated.
Yes, things on the positive side of life. So Eddie, you played college football and you were a tight end, and playing football, everyone has a job to do. They have to be in the right position. They have to do their job properly. They have to be ready for the position that they're playing. So you can't take somebody and put them out of position and expect them to be successful, right? You exchange Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski, put Gronkowski at quarterback and Brady at tight end, the Patriots wouldn't be as successful. And so, everyone has to do their job properly. And certainly you're in a leadership role there, and you're looking to put people into the right place and the right spots and the right roles at Lochinvar, A.O Smith. But how has, playing football and being part of a team, that camaraderie, how's that helped you in your business career?
Well, Darryl, I played team sports my whole youth and growing up and even through college. And I will tell you, I don't know of a greater thrill than celebrating successes with your teammates. And the thing about it is, not everybody gets to be a Tom Brady. Not everybody gets to throw the winning touchdown pass. Not everybody gets to catch the winning touchdown pass, but everybody has a part in that play. And so I think that's something that I've always looked at in business, is that, it may not be your time to really shine right now, but what you're doing is still important. And, you get to celebrate the successes just like the guys that do throw the touchdown passes. So I think that's important for us to put people in the positions where they can contribute to the success of the business, and then to really reward that. Right now, on the flip side of that, there are the disappointments also. And, in football, you have losses.
Right.
But I will tell you, it's always good to have somebody that you can go back and say, okay, what happened? And collectively, you put your heads together and you say, okay, it's kind of like root cause analysis. Here's where we went wrong. Here's what happened to. Now, how do we fix that? How do we get better? How do we improve that? And then there's the whole accountability piece of it too, right?
Yeah.
You get that close to your teammates, and it's not about the fact that you don't want to fail for yourself. You don't want the team to fail.
Right.
You don't want to fail in front of your teammates. So, it gives you a little bit more emphasis to push harder. So I really think the team work in sports is something that just permeates through not only your business life, but your personal life as well.
Yeah, I echo your comments there. One of the things that we do here at Wallace Eannace, when we receive a nice purchase order, we have this bell out in the inside sales pit there, and we ring the bell and announce it, and everybody claps and cheers, and it's a celebration, not only for the guy that closed the job, but it's a celebration for the entire team, because everybody plays a role in that, from the estimating to the quoting to customer service to the guys that ship the product out. So it's a way for us to celebrate together as a team. Eddie, we have someone in the chat box there, and I'm just going to read a quick question from the chat box. This is from Amanda in the Lone Star State of Texas, and she says, Mr. Goodwin, what would you say are some key attributes that have led to your success?
I think one of the things is I've always recognized I'm not the smartest person in the room, right? and that sounds funny, but I tell you, you have to recognize that, and you recognize who are the people that have qualities and intelligence and knowledge or whatever that can help you get to what you're trying to accomplish, right? So you try to put those people in the proper place. You listen to them, try to give them a vision, try to give them some guidance as to where we're trying to get to, and then let them go. Let them get out of their way and try to let them work through the things, because it's much better for them to be working through things. I mean, you would much rather have Brian Iskey designing hydronic product than Eddie Goodwin, right? Although I'll give Brian my thoughts every once in a while, but they typically don't go very far. But that's something I think all good leaders have to understand, is it's not what can I do, it's what can my team do. And so how do I put those people in the right place? How do I get the right people on my team? And then, I've always thought a big piece is to, make sure they have what they need. make sure they have the resources. If there's issues that I need to help them with, get cleared up, then I try to do that. But mostly, Daryl, I'll try to get the right people, the best people for that job in line. And then I try to get out of their way and just ask that they keep me informed. And I go about it from there. I think one of my strengths is relationships with our customers. I've always tried to do that. So I spend a lot of time there. And I spend a lot of time trying to develop our strategy and the vision and making sure everybody understands that, and all of their plans are geared towards, are aligned with what the corporation's plans are. So I think that's one key. I know a lot of guys that run businesses that think that if they don't walk in that door, that things won't run. And I can tell you, I have no problem with not walking in the doors here, because we have good people that know what they're trying to get accomplished.
Right. Yeah. Excellent point. And, Dennis Kimbrough said in one of his books that if you are the smartest one in your group, then you need to get a new group.
Exactly.
It is your vibe that attracts your tribe, right? So you want to spend time with quality people and have other quality people around you. The way I say it when I go into elementary schools and high schools and colleges and speak is I say, OPP, only positive people. That's what you want to be around, because if you're around positive people, those influences will rub off on you. But yeah, Eddie, you brought up the term, leadership in your answer just there. And, leadership is something that's very important to me. I work on my leadership skills. I attend leadership workshops and seminars. I was down in Georgia with Dr. John Maxwell, author of 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership and so many other books. He's the #1 guru in the world on leadership. And to me, leadership is leading by example, but it's also reaching back to help those people that work for you, helping them to believe in themselves more and helping them to bring out the greatness within them. Some people will call it potential, developing their potential so that they can get better. I call it greatness because I believe that we all do have greatness in us that we can bring, to the forefront. You talked about, leadership in your answers leading up to this, but, in addition to what you said, is there anything else you want to say about leadership?
Well, I will tell you, I do believe that I do believe in what you just said. You got to help people bring that out sometimes, right? You have to. I will tell you, I tell some of our younger employees here at times, I have more confidence in them than they have in themselves. They haven't experienced a lot of things. And so that I think impacts their confidence. They're not sure, but they are really smart folks, and they work really hard and they get the job done. They're able to overcome obstacles, and they're always wanting to learn. They're curious, and so that to me, if they remain that curious, and they will get with the right people and select a mentor or two and let them, properly mentor them along, those people will eventually get to the point to where they're going to be great leaders. And, that's something that I just think that we have to, as our leadership team has to work harder at, is mentoring those folks and giving them those opportunities. You don't get that confidence unless you get the opportunity to fail or succeed, right?
Right.
And so we want those people to lead projects. We want them to lead some training. We want them to go attack an issue that we're having or whatever, and let them learn how to experience some setbacks. Let them learn how to experience getting things done. Let them learn how to go talk to an angry customer, right? I think everybody can learn by talking to an angry customer.
Right.
That's not an easy thing to sit through, but you can become such a better leader and better at your job once you see from another person's point of view, right?
Yeah.
So that's something that I think is always important. We talk a lot about, our customer is #1 and seeing things through the eyes of our customer.
Right.
And, to some people, if they've never had that opportunity, that's just talk. So we like to give our people that opportunity, and I think that's a big plus for them.
Yep. Excellent. So Eddie, our interview is winding down. I can't believe this 30 minutes is going by so quickly. We have just a couple of minutes left, and I want to jump quickly to another question in the chat box. This is from Emmanuel at the University of Chicago. And his question is, how does someone find out about internship opportunities at Lochinvar?
Well, we're trying to get better at that. Steve O'Brien, our COO, is working on our website. If you went to our website today, you would see primarily a product and marketing website. And Steve is working on getting our opportunities for employment, for internships, for potential co-ops also here in Lebanon. So we're going to get much more into the marketing game of that. And that's something that we have not done very well. And so that's one of those things that has kind of slapped us in the face a little bit, and we're going to address that. So that's something we're working on now. So I would just say, keep checking our website. You're going to see some gradual changes there, and you will definitely start to see the opportunities that we have available on the opening slide, on the opening page.
Excellent. And real quick, Eddie, talk to me about some of the things that Lochinvar A.O Smith is doing as far as involvement, with community engagement and education and scholarships, with some of the things you're doing at Tennessee Tech that I was hearing about.
Tennessee Tech is a very strong engineering school. It's just right up the road from us. It's probably about 40 miles east, and we have got several employees from Tennessee Tech, and so we have a lot of relationships there. In their engineering program, they will every year look for projects that they can task their students with, and so Brian Iskey is always available to offer up a project.
Yep. Pause there for a second. So did I hear you say that you've hired people from Tennessee Tech?
We do hire people out of Tennessee Tech. We have several employees.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So it's working out well. Okay, go ahead.
It is. They're strong in the engineering fields, and we have a really strong working relationship, and that's going well. We're trying to take that relationship a little further down now. We're starting to work with high schools and trying to get high school kids that are maybe not going to go to college, get them in, let them see what we're looking at. And for those that are even not sure whether they're going to go to college, maybe even give them an opportunity to work a year or two and then kind of see what interests them, and let them take advantage of our college tuition plan that we have, and be able to go back to school and after some work experience, which I do believe is a really good way to do that. And so it's something that we're working through now, as to how do we get to those students. And it's the hydronic industry is not it's not an IT industry, although we use a lot more of that technology than most people realize.
Right.
And so that's one thing that we want to do, is we just want to get people in and show them what we've got, and if it interests them, then say, hey, let's talk. Awesome.
Eddie, I appreciate the time that you've afforded to us today. I know you're a very, very busy man. And so thank you so much. You're investing in the community, investing in Tennessee Tech, and in turn, they come back to you guys. So to me, it's a great partnership. It works well. Do you have any closing comments? Thank you so much for joining me today.
I don't. I would just say that, once again, we're being part of A.O Smith. A.O Smith's a 140-plus-year-old company. Our values are very important to us. And one of the things that made Lochinvar so attractive was that they had similar values. The culture was similar and the values were similar. And, we're going through a new operating system now, to where basically what we're trying to do is get the employees coming through the doors every day, fully engaged, looking how they can either impact our customer, impact our quality, impact our efficiency, get rid of waste, get everybody in the same vein, get them all trained up, and give them the basics so that they can be successful at that. And, our rally cry with that, Daryl, is kind of taking it with sports analogy, is we need you to win. We need our employees to win. We need them to win. And, hopefully what we're what we're outfitting them with is also something they can take in their personal life and use it there also. So that's what I would say. I think A.O Smith's a great company and has got a lot of opportunity for anyone that might be looking for something that enjoys doing what we do.
I agree with you, Eddie. Together we can make a difference and together we win. Thank you so much for your time. Until next time, folks, chase your dreams because your dreams are not chasing you. I'm your guy, D. Clark, motivated and blessed. Soak it up. I am.